Welcome to Hermit Woods, where there's a story in every bottle. Cheers. Cheers. It's Monday again. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome back to, I changed the name.
You did?
Talking Wine with the Hermits.
Is that what it is?
That's what I did.
I can't hear it.
It's written.
It's not really talking.
It's written.
Oh, it's a written wine with the Hermits? Wait, is it talking or written?
It's
He likes to do that.
very confusing.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
Aren't you supposed to do your
Welcome,
thing?
everybody.
All right.
Thanks for joining us here. It's another Monday. You're about to waste another hour doing something.
Really?
confusing
Did he
with the
just say
Hermits.
that? Sorry to interrupt. I've been trying not to interrupt, but that one was a
Not spending another hour with your favorite hermits.
yeah.
You've got a hermit-rific story.
Hermerific?
Brazil is a hermit-rific. Is that part of
No, in all seriousness, everybody.
Well, and we're
thank you
drinking
again for joining us.
Hermitage.
We're drinking Hermitage, and you're now
Way in deep with the Hermit.
talking wine with the Hermits. Well, we had criticism the other day from the gentleman in California who said, "Did you have to make your title any longer and less memorable?" Because our title was like 8 words. So yeah, so I changed it.
to 7?
So I changed it to 4.
4.
Something like that.
Good. Well, that's
It's
improvement.
vast improvement. It's better than 50%. So,
That's great.
Well done.
So a couple things for anybody new here today. I hope you have some new folks. If you're joining us for the first time, please let us know by putting your name in the comments and saying hello. And if you have questions, please ask them in the comments as well. We'll do our best to get to them while we're on the show live. And if you're joining us for the first time, or if you have not subscribed to our channel, below Ken is on YouTube is a subscribe button. Please subscribe to the channel so you get notified every time we go live. There's a little bell on Facebook, and if you ring that bell or push that bell, you'll be subscribing to our Facebook channel, and you'll get notified again when we go live on Facebook. We go live almost every Monday at 5:30, and we also might be found randomly sailing some body of water somewhere or climbing a mountain or doing something else, and we'll go live at different times. So if you want to join in on our conversations wherever we are in the world, that's how you do it. And if you do enjoy the presentation today, we'd love it if you'd like the broadcast, share it with your friends and family. If you have friends and family that you think would enjoy this conversation and want to partake in it. And with that, I think we should get on with the conversation today, which is kind of exciting and fun on two different levels. I'm excited because one of our goals today is we're going to do a vertical tasting of some of our wines back 10 years, our Hermitage wines.
Yeah.
And I haven't even taken my first sip yet, so I'm really excited to see how that goes. But before that, I want to talk about something else really fun. Yesterday, I finally did it. I finally took the opportunity to venture off to the Hermit Woods forest over in Meredith.
I sense like a hermit theme
There's
going
a hermit
on.
theme, yes.
Yeah.
Hermitage,
Pretty good.
talking wine with the Hermits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all coming together.
And visiting our namesake's gravestone. So if you don't know, and probably everybody on today with us does, but if you are new to our program here, you may not know that Joseph Plumer is actually the Hermit of Meredith Hill. He died in 1862 in Meredith.
I can't believe he was 88 years old.
88 years old.
Maya and I were talking about that last night. Imagine going through the winter when you're 85 years old, 87 years old. You got to bring in your wood for your really well-insulated cabin out in the middle of nowhere with all of your power tools and all of that to help you out.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Imagine that. How do you do that?
Did he even have a wood stove? He probably just had a fire.
He had a fireplace. He did not have a wood stove. He had a
Yeah.
fire. I read the
Yeah,
whole
no wood
story
stove.
again today.
Yeah, there's just
so
a fireplace. So what you're
Massive
so
amounts of
efficient.
wood. Yeah, right. You have to go through massive amount of wood.
So it's a great story, actually, and I'm gonna post the story. I haven't had a chance to do it yet today, but I'm gonna share everything I learned from this visit. I reread the story so I could know a little bit more about the hermit to talk about him today. But he was born actually in southern New Hampshire, and his family moved up here when he was very young.
Oh, not at that house on the corner?
No, he was born in southern New Hampshire. His family may have lived in the
They
house.
live in that house right on the corner where I make this corner every day.
Yeah, and I don't
on my
know about
route
that.
here.
There's nothing in the reference about that house
Okay.
in what I read today. But his parents moved up here with 6 or 7 children, him being one of them. So it's a large family.
Yep.
And all of the children did well for themselves. They all were financially well off and owned
There are quite a
land,
few big
had property.
Plumer tombstones
Yeah.
in the main one right on Hermit Woods Road.
Right.
When you get closer to
There is.
132. Yeah.
And probably a lot of them related to this guy. And actually, what I read today was discovered by somebody in Guilford who found some papers of a relative.
Oh,
And this was written about him by one of his relatives. It was written in 1900. So it's written in the.
but it was
in
just
old-fashioned
discovered
language.
recently.
It was, I don't know when this was discovered
Okay.
and published, but it was brought to life and put on the internet, and so that we can learn about the hermit. And we have it on, we will have it on our website. I'm going to post it. We used to have it, but we changed the site. It's not all there yet, but it'll be back. So the hermit moved up here. He lived here for the better part of his life. He did not fit in well with society, although he got along with people okay. He had lots of reservations about crowds, and he had lots of fears about modernization and fears about
I like him already.
yeah. So he decided to live in seclusion. Although it said that there are times in certain times of the year where he'd have as many as 100 people visit him in any given week. And
Is that when he was weighing people?
He was weighing people. He's very industrious. He took advantage of those people to collect money to help pay for his needs and supplies. He weighed people and charged them for it. He sold them goods and services that he had on hand. He made cider from the apples that he grew in his tree, and he was quite well known for the cider. He made his own cider pressing system. He would freeze the apples, which would break them up, and then squish them.
That's it. This guy was rocking it way back
So
then.
he had a special box that he built, and he put the frozen apples, and when they thawed out, he could really mush them down into a mush,
Oh, yeah.
and then he'd filter that into a cider. And it didn't get a lot, but he got enough, and he made it work for him. So
He just needed to ferment that whole paste that he had.
yeah,
That
right.
would
I
have
don't know
been-
if he fermented it. I don't know when he made hard cider. I imagine he might have, but although maybe not, given the story I read.
Well, you got to preserve it somehow. So you can't, if you go through all this process, you got to drink it all
It's
really
sort of
fast.
self-preserving. If you let it sit too long. it's
Well, I mean, it will ferment, yeah.
So anyway, there's more to the story. I'm going to post the story. But what
Wow.
I have done for all of you out there, and Priscilla, I hope you're on today. Yes, you are. Excellent. Priscilla,
He found the route.
I found the route, and if you go to our About page, forget the actual title. It's the first link on the About page, the first tab, and scroll all the way to the bottom. I actually
You uploaded a map.
the GPX file into a Google map so that anybody in the world can open that Google map on their device and follow it to the hermit. I also stood on top of
He's
the
talking a lot,
grave.
so we might as well just drink some more of this
No, you go, Bob.
really nice
I
wine.
stood on top of the grave and I got the what three words.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
So if you use what 3 words, that's actually a great way to navigate to the hermit. You could use the what 3 words app, and literally it tells you where to point the app to go to where that square is on the planet.
But there is a trail, right?
No, there was a trail, and there are.
I mean, we
remnants of it.
went on a trail
There's remnants.
12
of it.
years ago.
Oh, really?
All of it,
Super,
but you
super
can't see it
hard to
anymore?
find. No,
Okay.
there is parts of it where I saw the trail. It became obvious. I saw some clipped trees, and there's a river. Priscilla, you probably discovered there is a river crossing, and there is no need for mud boots. So I don't know where you ended up, but you didn't need to be walking in the mud because I didn't get any mud on me at all on this trip. The river crossing is aided by a rope suspended between two trees. So somebody took the time, and that is
I
roughly
think
where
that
the
was
trail
there. I think there was something like
I
that.
don't remember.
I don't remember either. I didn't remember the rope, but I was pleased to see that it was there. You didn't need it. You could have crossed the river without it, but there was risk. You could have slipped in easily and got a little wet doing it. But with the rope, it was pretty easy to balance on the
This year,
bottom.
there's so much water out there too, everywhere.
Once- So you enter to get to the Hermit, you enter the woods right at the sign that says entering Samberton. It's right at the town border. And you get,
There's a pull-off there, right?
there is
Yeah,
a
there's a
pull-off, there's a
pull-off
place to park.
across the
couple
street.
cars, And you can follow somebody's surveyed the border with red blotches on the trees. So you follow those red blotches into the river to stay right.
So there's
to
a
the-
blaze line that you can follow.
Yeah, it's the border of the park
Oh.
in Meredith.
Oh, I thought this was kind of in the middle of the park.
Yeah, I think.
Or maybe
it
it's
is,
the
but
town
it's the
boundary.
town
Maybe it's the
boundary
Meredith
Where the
boundary.
park is, yeah, it is, it's the Meredith boundary.
Because
But it
the
also
park goes
defines the
larger, I think.
park, because the red marked trees turn at the back border of the park. And so it's also something to do with the park itself. They surveyed something.
They
to
did,
do with
yeah.
the park. And so you follow those trees to the river. Then when you're at the river, look upstream toward the swamp and you'll find the rope. It's right where the stream starts from the swamp. Cross the river, climb to the top of the
And then
land right
veer to
there,
the right.
and veer to the right. And at this
That's
point,
what I
if you
remember.
stay more or less at the same elevation and follow the
ridge.
contour of the land, you will go around a swale and then back toward the pond again. And as you're heading back toward the pond, and if you walk far enough, you will run into stone walls. And if you see stone walls, you've found the Hermit. He built a acre-wide stone wall around his lot, and you can see it. And there's maps of it in the literature, which I'll post as well.
Beth,
you can-
Beth mapped some of those.
Yeah,
That's how that's how I first learned
there's
about it and
actually
the stuff.
This wasn't her drawing, but there was actually
Okay.
somebody drew. a
I know
picture
she's
of
done
the
that. She's gone out and mapped those
Yeah.
stone walls out there. She likes doing that stuff.
And the foundation to his home is out there, and you can see all.
remember
of this.
seeing that.
And when you see the drawn maps, it'll start to look familiar.
Did the
to you.
flowers that we put there still there?
The flowers are not there. We didn't put
That bottle of wine that we buried there still there?
I don't know about that yet. So
No?
we'll have to find out about that.
Did we bury a bottle of wine there?
I don't know.
I
We'll just
don't
see
think
what
so,
happens.
but it sounded like we should
Sounded
have.
like a good idea.
Yeah.
Or something. Buried something.
We should
wouldn't
have.
done that.
Anyway,
Have we?
we.
Maybe gift certificates. Hermit
2 for 1 tasting?
You're only gonna know. You're only gonna know if, by some means, you discover the Hermit. So anyway, there he is. He's out there. I have photographs on the website right below the map. You can go and get pictures, see the pictures of the.
It's so nice. I'm so glad that we ended up with him as our namesake. I mean, I ride past his place at least every other day, and it's the spot. It's just it. I
You should
can
stop and make him.
Yeah, I know where it is,
No,
and
it's pretty cool.
I see it. It's
So I've decided, if any of you would like to join, I'm going to post some Saturday with a rain date of Sunday coming up, probably right before Thanksgiving, that I will meet whoever wants to meet me out there.
Oh, you're gonna take a group in?
9:30
Great.
or 10 o'clock in the morning. I'll post it. It'll be about an hour long to get in and out, maybe a little.
Oh, I'll go
less.
for that. Yeah, let's
And
do it.
so whoever wants to join, you can just meet me. I'll give you the GPS coordination or the three
The what-
words
three
for
what-
that
yeah.
spot, and find your way there, and we'll hike in together, and we'll celebrate the Hermit, and then we can come back. We'll organize something where everybody can come back. I figure we come back and
Come
maybe
back
take
and
a
drink
tour of the
Hermitage.
winery,
And sample Hermitage out of the barrel.
So that's
that be
the
fitting?
story. I'm so excited. We have it. It's live on our website. You could go to the website and see the map to the Hermit. You can get the what three words. I put the link to what three words and the actual address for the
Which
gravesite.
ones did you use? What was the
I
three
used the
three
actual
words?
three that was my phone was sitting on the head.
Well, you get a choice though of every spot.
No. Each spot has.
Oh,
three words.
okay, you got to
You
that
can
spot.
move to another spot if you want,
Yeah,
but I chose the one that it
Okay.
recorded when I was sitting.
that's
on
one with
top of it.
with the birds and
Yeah.
everything.
It's on the website. I don't
Okay.
have it
Yeah, I
open.
forgot what it is. Yeah. I looked it up on what three words that it went right to.
It went right to it. Yeah, it's a great service.
Yeah,
And come to find out,
it's Steve Woods.
Steve Wood, who we were talking about last week, His nephew is one of the
founders of What Three
of
Words.
What Three Words.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I want to get him on the show.
Well, we could try
Would
that.
love
We
to
got to
have-
get Steve on the show. He
Yeah.
agreed to come on the show, and hopefully he's going to follow through and come to the show.
So
And you need to try your
So
wine.
you're
And
going to post, so Meredith Historical Society there's a book written about Joseph Plumer.
yeah, and I have that
used to be
photocopied.
that was on our
Yeah,
website.
and I'm going to put it
And
back.
then we have a whole nother story about him from a first
Yes, first
person.
person story.
And that's going on the website.
That'll be on there too. There'll be PDFs. You'll be able to click them. And I'm also going to build a Facebook post with all of this information and maps and links and everything. So it'll also go out to social media.
great.
It makes me think about Dave Kabrinsky, one of our artists here at the Loft Performance.
In what way?
Well, because he went to Africa to channel ancestors.
Oh yeah, I know.
And it's like, well, so, I hope that, we've treated Joseph Plumer respectfully, because
I think we have. I
We
think
didn't take his picture and put it on a book.
we did not.
Oh,
take his
that's a
picture
good
and put it
thing.
on the book. We might be all right.
It was before cameras.
So Priscilla said she followed the trees, the red trees, and that would have been fine, Priscilla, but there is a point at which you need to leave the
You need to
trees
veer right.
behind and head back toward the road, toward the pond.
That's probably
And-
the boundary of the park. I'm imagining they painted the trees, because it's a very, whatever, somebody donated that land to the town of Meredith.
Right, but I thought
So I don't
I thought the park goes quite a ways south from there, and is there actually a fly there?
So,
Okay,
so
because I have these dust spots in my eyes that sometimes
we-
look like a
we
fly
haven't set
moving
a date
around.
yet, so stay tuned for the date. I'm
Yeah.
going to be posting this on
That sounds
Facebook in the next day or so. So you'll see it on Facebook. I also put it on our event page, so you'll know the date. I hope you can make it. If you can't make it, don't worry, because I'm probably going to do it more than once. I know it'll be hard for everybody to be there who wants to be there all at the same time. So we'll do it a couple times. It's
you
a
should
fun
film
hike.
it.
So
You should film this with your 3D
The
camera.
360.
yeah,
I mean 3D, 360 camera.
Yeah.
So you should, and there's also a film about this. Is that not true? Didn't somebody try
there's
to make a film?
no somebody, the guy.
They
who
made
did
like a
Archie-
documentary.
Oh, somebody.
It wasn't a documentary. It was a live action docudrama. I've seen it. You can take it out from the library. You can check the movie out of the library. It comes on a DVD. You might have to find a DVD player. I don't know if those exist anymore, but I played it. I rented it about 4 or 5 years ago and played it.
I remember seeing a picture
never
of somebody that's dressed up to
Yeah.
be like the hermit, and
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's a movie night
So
at
this
the
was-
Loft here.
Well, I don't know.
right after
Not that great.
Mondovino.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
left
well,
a
there
lot to be desired.
well,
It's
there
an
could be-
interesting movie
There
for
could
sure.
be alcohol involved.
There could be. So, so that's the story of the hermit. And I want to tell you, Priscilla, and anybody else who goes out there, I found the hermit's grave because I had been there before and I knew where it was. If you went out there, Priscilla, entirely on your own, or you did go out there entirely on your own, I don't care how good the directions were. It was not going to be an easy find. It's a
Yeah.
big forest.
Yeah.
There's a lot out there. There's a lot to get mixed up with in terms of your direction. And so the fact that you didn't find the grave on your first attempt by yourself is not a surprise. It would probably be hard for anybody.
Yeah,
may
we had a
even be-
guide the first time we went. Beth took us out.
Yeah, yeah. No, it helps to know where it is.
Yeah.
Because it's a big forest.
Yeah.
And you could wander for a long way. And if you missed it by 50
The
yards.
terrain is not that obvious. There's
No.
little ridges and highs and lows and swampy areas.
And if you walk by it, you're done.
Yeah.
You may never get back to that spot. You may
Right.
think you're still going in the
Right.
direction. So yeah, it wouldn't be easy to do. But come with me in a couple weeks, and I'll make sure you find it. And if you want to take a stab at it, the GPS track will give you a much better crack at it because it's.
So is this wine from our first expedition out there? Or is that 2011 when we went out there?
It was 2011 when we went out there, and
So
this
this is
this
next
wine
year.
is not.
This
Yeah.
is 12?
This is 2012.
Yeah, so the next year.
2012
later.
Hermitage.
So tell us about what we're doing with the wine because I've told the hermit story. So what are we doing?
So I'm glad this lined up so well. So we're drinking Hermitage. So we've got
like the AOC in France and on the Rhone River,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
except that it's Hermit.
That's instead of Hermitage,
Hermitage.
because we actually say the H
Yeah, because you said H. Oh,
because it's English.
So
Yeah.
But a similar sort of story.
would it be
Yeah,
safe to
which is-
say
it is.
that this 2012 Hermitage is still young?
Yeah.
It gets right on.
No,
I
I
know.
think this is a drink right now.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
I
absolutely-
think it's right on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
I
right.
think it's gonna
Yeah.
start to
What?
lose it.
What tells you that? Tell me about it.
It's losing a little bit of its fruit intensity. It's losing some of its alcohol. It's a little thinner. It's getting a little bit browner. There's not that much in the way of tannins in the wine. It could go another 5 years, probably, but I think this is the right time to drink it.
My
It's,
guess is-
it's so
Is
smooth.
that this is the drink now time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think it's going to get better.
I don't think it's not going to get any better.
It's really interesting.
It's really nice.
It's really flavorful. The elderberry, I mean, this had a bitey sort of acidy kind of.
Oh, when we
elderberry.
first released
Yeah,
it? Oh, yeah.
that was just really sharp.
Yeah.
And now that elderberry is mellowed out. Still, that's the first thing that hits your taste buds, but it's
Right.
mellowed and oxidized.
What's really
It's a little,
interesting
tawny.
is these first two vintages that we're going to have, 12 and 14, don't have blackberries. It wasn't until 17 that I added blackberries. And 18 and 19 that we have here and 22 also have blackberries. So this will be an interesting change.
Just as I'm sipping this, thinking about somebody who will go unnamed 12 years ago, telling us there is no way you can lay a fruit wine down and have it improve with time.
It definitely happens.
Most definitely.
I've been tracking so many wines and watching them age and evolve, and it really helps. It's like, who's the guy in Australia that created, going to the next one, here's the 14. Yeah, we have 5 wines to try.
So the first one was a 12.
This is 12. Now we're going to 14. 14 or 15, yeah, 14. Penfolds. The Penfolds, Syrah, which is the birthplace of Syrah grape, was Hermitage. So this is a nice little thread to follow. So the guy Penfolds took it to Australia. He learned how to make wine in France and then moved, I think, to his home country in Australia and planted Syrah and found incredible conditions to grow Syrah. But the wines that he built were so massive, so tannic, so unapproachable when they were young. The people who were there, and this is in the late 50s or 60s, they're like, "This, you can't, why are you making this? We can't drink this." He says, "Because this is going to be right. This is going to be awesome."
It was also at a time when most Australian wines were sweet.
Mm-hmm.
They hadn't
Right, so no
as an
one
industry,
knew what
hadn't
to do
really,
with that.
Bought into the classic dry wines, and in fact, that was the case. That Napa was drinking.
Napa,
sweet
same thing.
wine, same thing.
Yeah.
So that was actually as big a barrier as any. It's that, what is this dry, this really dry, and as you point out, overly dry, tannic
Monster.
monster, and they're used to drinking these fruity, sweet. That's what grape wine
And that's
was.
what France was still building, massively tannic, intense wines that you couldn't touch for a decade. That's what came out of Burgundy. That's what came out of Bordeaux. And an Aubryon or a Margaux was undrinkable for 10 years. I mean, it just sucked the moisture out of your mouth if you tried to sip it. There was no fruit. It was just green tannic. But you'd wait 10 years and all of the fruit would emerge and the tannins would soften and it's sublime. It's magic. It's like, and France had figured that out a century before. So that's how they kept going. And they had 10-year-old wines always available to them. They're making this stuff, but they're drinking 10-year behind all the time because they knew that's what they would get if they followed that pursuit. And he brought that to Australia, and Australia went, "What is this?"
Took him years.
What took him probably 10 years until they went, "Ah, that's what you were doing."
He tells the story, or the story goes that he was given a couple barrels in the corner
Yeah.
to play this out.
Right.
And actually, I think at some point the winery that he worked for shut him down. They said no more of this nonsense.
Yeah.
And he just kind of secretly did his thing in the back room, and he kept doing it. And it took 6 or 8 years before he got recognition.
It takes that kind of fortitude, I think. I mean, with us doing this sort of thing, I mean, we are forging new grounds that no one else does. And like you said, a lot of people go, well, why would you try to make a age-worthy fruit wine? Just make it and sell it like everybody else does with their fruit wine.
So that, I think about this a lot. We talk about, where we fall in the world of wine and what our place is. And you have to, that's exactly right. You'd have to be crazy to do what we're doing. There's no place, there's no history, there's no
But this is
predecessor.
this is wine.
No,
This
absolutely.
drinks like wine. I mean, I buy wines from 2014 from France or elsewhere, and it tastes like wine that's been well aged.
And 99.99% of the population doesn't know. And the only
No, they don't
way
know that.
they
Yeah.
find out
They go to the supermarket and
is
buy
they
wine.
walk in this door and discover us, if they're brave enough, because a lot of them walk in the door and turn right around and walk back out,
Right.
because they already have preconceived notions about what wine is and what our fruit wine is going to be like.
Right.
So that's just it, is that, so the media, the wine press, the wine industry at large, we are in this weird place
I know.
that nobody understands.
But this is exactly what we wanted to do.
Exactly.
I mean, this is the
And if
sort
we
of wine
persevere
that
long
I
enough,
want to drink.
If we persevere
And-
long enough, the language is going to change. It absolutely
Yeah.
will change. And eventually,
If?
somebody,
What did you just say? If?
when we persevere
Thank
long
you.
enough,
Thank you.
we will eventually change hearts and minds.
Yeah.
It's not going to take that much. It'll be, I think it's, once it tips, it's going to
We
it's gonna
keep
go
we
crazy.
keep knocking little holes in the dam. With Paul and Ray Isle and all those sorts of things. We keep poking holes in
Did you
it.
see Paul's note?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really genuine.
Yeah.
Really, Paul is the person who invited Ken and I down to Maryland to hear non-grape wines with a
And we brought
bunch of
Hermitage.
rock star winemakers,
Yeah.
and we brought Hermitage and Lincoln's Way, and that was a game-changing moment. But again, it's a poke in a hole in the dam. Is what it is.
It's
not-
poking a hole. We're trying
floodgates
to.
haven't opened yet.
No,
So,
not yet.
And I don't know that they will. Who knows? We'll just keep poking those holes, and maybe we get to that.
Maybe
place
my
or something.
grandson will make it
Yeah.
push that hole through.
So these are different elderberries, and this is blackberry.
This one, no, is 2014 blueberry, elderberry, blackcurrant. Oh, yeah.
This has some green notes.
Yeah, this has the
That's from a-
spicy briar
That's from
green
the
note.
blackcurrant. The
Well,
elderberry is different, though. The elderberry is not nearly as elderberry is the first one. But was the first one? Was that when we had that guy foraging for elderberries
Yep.
for us? So those are really local.
yeah,
elderberries.
local wild
And he
foraged
froze
elderberries.
them and took them out. So he had a bunch of people helping him.
Yep, helping them clean it off, and
And
then
it's a very different elderberry
right.
blend.
Matt,
So that has blackcurrant. They both have blackcurrant.
They both have blackcurrant. They all have blackcurrants.
Oh,
What's Matt say?
He has 68 bottles of 2012 and 2013 Hermit Woods wine in his cellar. Way to go, Matt. You've been
Yeah, man.
disciplined here.
yeah.
I know you've
well-
said many times how hard it is to keep them in the cellar, not drink them. So
I'm saying that
Nicely done.
this is.
Well, I
probably
think at
taken
the
out,
I
too.
think at the club holiday party we're going to have some of the 12.
oh, good.
Don't you
Did
think?
you hear that?
I mean,
The
this is
club
drinking
holiday party.
time.
By the way, we have a date for that. Was it? We picked the 8th, December. Was it December 8th? The Friday?
Let me double check,
Double
and we
check.
can
Yeah,
let these
we'll give you
people
the club
know.
holiday party.
Club holiday party, December 8th.
Friday night. So put that on your calendar.
Friday
I
night,
sure hope you can make
December
it.
8th.
I know not everybody's going to be able to, and I'm sorry if you're one of those who can't, but we had to settle on a date, and that's the one we chose.
And we're going to be pouring the 2012 Hermitage
And we're going to be pouring the 2012 Hermitage.
because it's time to drink it. And
If you
probably,
have other
probably,
plans, cancel
And the
them.
2014?
I don't know. I think the 14 is right there too.
Mm.
This has got a little bit more oak. That's the.
It's definitely different.
Oh, it's a lot
Totally
different. They're all different. They're all different.
It has, I don't have, it's not the right word, but it's almost a cotton candy thing that to me is a sign of the fruit oxidizing and getting to that rich, really fruity thing. It's not really
like a
complicated,
creme
but
brulee, like
yeah,
a
it's
like
more
a
of creme
like a
brulee
yeah,
sort
like
of
a.
thing. It's got that. It's really nice. It's so much different from the
It
12.
is really different. This was when 14 and 15 we brought to that restaurant down in Portsmouth, Bob, when we were going to do that
Oh, yeah.
wine tasting in format. And the chef there and the somm that was there had this, and they're like, oh, the 14 is the one we got to have. We brought the 14 and the 15, and they really liked the 14. And
Yeah, it's
they're all different.
it's really nice, and it's really soft.
Right.
That's one of the things I love with any aged wine is you get that mouthfeel and softness that
Some
that
things you
takes
just
time to
can't
happen.
accelerate. That's right. So we're going to jump 4 years here. The last one was just a 2-year jump. This is a 4-year jump.
So
This is the vintage we just finished, or
18?
this is the 18. And this was very bright,
Hmm.
very
Further
bright. So this, to me, has got a lot of elderberry. It's got that earthy,
Let's go with the spicy.
but I thought that one of our nice little blends of cheese and meat would go nicely with the 18. I forget which one that is. That's the one, no, it's called soapy.
Soupy.
Soupy. That's the soupy one. That's spicy.
So this has blackberries in
This has blackberries in
it.
it.
Okay, I get that.
And quite honestly,
that's a
this
juiciness.
one might as well.
I thought,
I have to
but
check my notes.
it's juicy. They have
It is.
that- It's almost like you just bit into a super ripe blackberry that just explodes in your mouth with that delicious juice.
So this, if you remember back to 12 when it was young, was bright,
Yeah.
racy, overrun by elderberry,
elderberry.
all this
That's
sort
all
of
I
stuff.
remember.
Now you try the 12 and you're like,
Yeah.
it's
No,
smooth,
a
it's
hot
blended, it's all together.
You know,
It takes time.
we need to do, remember about 6, 7 years ago, probably 6 years ago, we had the Hermitage blind tasting. It was a club member event, so if we did it again, if we do that again.
That followed up after Richard Leahy's
Right.
blind tasting down in,
We had about 10,
Richmond or
10 folks, 10
Charlotte.
or 12 folks come, and we did a blind tasting. We had 5 bottles of wine, 4 of which were classic European and American grape wines.
grape wines.
Stylistically similar to a Hermitage, and we did it blind, 100%, so nobody knew what they were drinking.
Right.
And it was so much fun. And at the end of the day, the wine of the night was the Hermitage. It's the one that everybody picked as being the best one of the evening. Not everybody, but the majority picked it. And nonetheless, it doesn't matter whether it's best or not. It's a really great experience to try these side by side
Right.
with classic wines and really see how they compare. We did that with Red Scare as well. We did a Red Scare blind
Burgundy,
tasting with Burgundy
with some Burgundies.
wines. So we're going to do those things again. We stopped doing those for a while. I think
COVID.
We need to get back into that.
It was COVID.
It was COVID, yeah. So
That's coming all back,
and
everybody.
I started, you should know, and just stay tuned. I actually spent some time working on my syllabus for my wine appreciation class, which I'm really excited about teaching.
Good.
It's- I have all the language there. I just need to get it written. I need it, I could probably give the class now without the syllabus, but I wanted to put some organization to it. And so it's going to be fun. It's going to be an hour-long class. It will involve wine tasting, and it's going to be a little bit of history, a little bit of background, and then some really key ideas about how to appreciate wine. So how to really.
Did you ever look through Zerali's book on wine? He was the wine broker for Windows on the World at the Trade Towers. And we went and heard a talk by him in Boston at the Wine Expo.
Is that where it was?
Long ago. This is the beginning of the winery.
Yeah.
And
I know. I've seen
Kevin Zerali, his book is really the ultimate book for a beginner going into learning the world of wine. takes it really well, breaks it out, helps you identify and understand the basics of things. And there might be something in there that you could incorporate. Yeah, I have a copy of it. Yeah, yeah, I'll bring it in.
I mean, I've dug in, I mean, I've done some research to help support some of the ideas, things that I know, but I don't have the language for it. So I've done some research already.
Yeah, this might help. I used that book when I was teaching a class on wine at the community college here. Same thing. It's a good book, and I've given a copy to each one of my kids. Read this book, you'll know about wine. And then, what's her name online?
Wine Folly.
Yeah, what's her name? Molly.
I just signed up for her class. I'm going to be going to Italy next year and spending 3 weeks or close to 3 weeks in the Tuscany area. So she has a class, everything to know about Tuscan wine.
Oh, great.
And it's a 3-hour, 4-hour internet based.
Good.
So I signed
Good.
up for it. So that'll probably help me too.
Yeah.
So this is delicious. I mean, it's really nice, and it keeps changing as I said.
Well, it's young. It is young, and that's what we've been telling people about the 18 as they've been tasting it at the bar.
18 is 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, it's young. It's still young. So what's nice is I just selected both the 18 and the 19 for our 2-bottle club members. So they can try these side by side, the 18 and the 19.
And that's 19?
And this is 19. So we just had a switch of vintages from the 18 to the 19. One of the hardest things to figure out is the volume at which we produce this wine so that it's sold in a timely manner when it's ready and the rest of it. And back in 18 and 19, the pressure on our tasting bar, the sales of our wines was off the chart. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking at the curve, I'm going, oh, in 2023, we're going to sell, 300 cases of this Hermitage. So I better make a big chunk of this Hermitage. Well, then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And COVID just put a big hammer on the whole darn thing. So that's quite frankly why we have still 18 and 19 vintages of Hermitage, is because the rate at which things were going was changing. And on our other wines, which are more fresh drinking, like our rosé, our crabapple, our strawberry, those are made in volumes that turn over in a year or two more regularly. But this needs that distance, needs that time.
It worked out well then.
So here's the 19. Go grab another glass. You could do them side by side because they have a very similar profile.
Anybody else want another glass?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm all right. So one of the things that I wanted to do was to subdue and integrate the elderberry a little bit more, a little bit sooner into the blend.
Right.
And then I also have been struggling with acetic acid and issues that arrive with acetic acid in winemaking. So you have the 19 there, so here's the 18. You can do them side by side. They're really quite similar. I think the 19 is got a little better structure to it for the long run, but I don't know that it will have the same liveliness and activity like we get out of the 12, 10 years down the road from now.
Yeah,
And then
this needs time.
And then 20 onward is completely different. I'll just tell you, I made a major pivot in 20.
So you're right. On the nose, the 18 is much brighter, much livelier on the nose, not the taste.
Right.
This one is almost like it has aged more. It's rounder. It's not as sharp on the nose.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's got a little bit more old
It's
world
not
BA.
as strong enough. This
Yeah.
really jumps out of the glass. Yeah, this has more of that old, but
the
that
old world.
old world edge should be coming from age, not from,
Right.
it shouldn't be made out of the.
Well,
gate
it came out of the age of a couple of barrels that went into this.
Yeah. But
in-
like
in
you said,
19.
maybe this one, because it has that intensity, might hold up
Right.
longer.
Right.
Because this one's already there.
I think it might. I can't wait for, 3 years from now when we do an 1819 pairing.
Yeah, elderberry is much more subdued in the
Mm-hmm.
19 than it is in the 18. And I'm not sure we used oak barrels, but there's a lot of tannins. I'm assuming there's sort of oak tannins in there at some level.
So all the Hermitages up until 2020 were made as separate wines put in separate barrels. And then after a couple of years, year and a half to 2.5 years, those barrels are blended in some proportion that makes sense at that time, with some idea as to how that's going to morph as it goes forward, so that it'll have, the elderberry will be a little bit strong, or it'll be a little high acid, but I know that over time that will smooth out and integrate like it has in the 12 and 14.
So
And the black currant?
Blackcurrant, same thing. So that was a separate vintage. Actually, these last two both have a 2015 blackcurrant that we made from the guy you and I went over and got those berries
Vermont.
in Vermont. So that stayed on.
Wow. Are you kidding me?
So
Jesus. That's insanity.
as it stands today, 2019 is drinking nicer than the 2018.
I think it is more readily accessible
But
now.
I think that the
Right.
2018. in
They're
5
gonna-
or 6
they're gonna flip.
years,
Yeah, I think that the 19 needs some time, and it'll be interesting next year when we do this to see
Right.
where they're at. They're both excellent. They're different for sure. I mean, the elderberry component is night and day different, but is that an age thing or is it?
It could have been two. The 18 may have been Maine elderberries.
Oh, from the
And
dentist
then
guy?
19, the dentist guy, and then 19, I went to Arkansas.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so amazing to me that we're talking about wines. I mean, that period of time when we got our elderberries from Maine seems like forever ago. We're
It
sitting
was.
here drinking the wine,
That is crazy. Yeah, I know.
Well, it was 5 years
I
ago.
know.
which is like forever ago.
Yeah.
5 years these days just seems like
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
So far into history.
Hmm.
That's just,
Wow.
it's almost scary.
Why do we sell this stuff? We should just save it and drink it ourselves.
We tried that.
I think
We tried
we'd have some serious health problems.
Sarah strained us out on that.
Yeah. Talk amongst yourselves out there in YouTube land, and we're just going to keep all of this.
So 2020,
The health effects, right?
oh, well, the health effects are just fantastic. I think these wines, I mean, I know from my own consumption that I feel much better the next day after consuming Hermit Woods wine than I do any commercial wine.
And you're not biased.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that from a bias standpoint. I'm not saying that from a marketing. I don't care about that. I'm just saying
Tell the
this.
truth, too,
I'm
because if you
a
felt it,
scientist.
you'd
I'm
say
just
it.
telling the
Compare
data.
and contrast. Bombay Sapphire or Hermitage?
Hermitage all the way. Sapphire, I'm a cripple the next day.
I don't know how you can compare the two.
Yeah, that's different.
Bombay Sapphire Night is a different night than a Hermitage night.
So
We should have
now
more.
you get to try the baby.
Nobody's had this yet. It's still in barrel.
This is still in the barrel. So I just
When
took
you-
this out of the
when is
barrel probably the fall of next year.
It's a year.
Yeah.
A whole other year.
Yeah. So this is a 22 vintage, so it's only been in a barrel a year.
Okay.
But in 2020, I changed my approach to
Wow.
making Hermitage.
I guess you did.
It's the same components, but I no longer make
fruity.
them. I no longer make them separate. Yeah, this is really fruity. But
Super fruity.
remember, it's young.
Oh, I know.
This is just a baby. It's a year old. So the 20, the
Cool.
21, and the 22, it almost smells like Marquette. There's like a young,
There's a
cold,
flower.
hardy grape.
Oh, yeah. I get
Character
that.
to it.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. Market's a hybrid, right?
Look
Yeah,
at the foxy side.
No, definitely not. What's that one that Carlo, was it Marquette? Did he did a, no, it was,
My favorite one,
B.
yeah.
oh, what was the, what is that grape?
Baco.
Baco Noir.
Baco Noir.
Baco Noir,
That's
that's
one of
it.
my favorite. That's my favorite color.
Baco
I
Noir.
opened up a Carlos Baco Noir from 2015 or 16
Yeah.
a few months ago.
Awesome.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's Baco Noir is awesome.
I sent him a note right away. I said, yeah, killing it, man. It's unfortunate he doesn't steer the ship anymore, but he sold it.
So totally different wine, right?
Yeah.
Totally different wine. But in all good ways.
And then it's, I did pivot a bit.
So what did you do so different?
It's co-fermented. It changes everything. I don't know what goes on biochemically, but ever since 2020 I did my first
'Cause that's what
co-ferment.
it feels together.
It's all together already.
Yeah.
It's already like the grape, the one thing. Now it's going to evolve in the barrel. It's going to build
that
structure.
one
It's
thing.
going to grab that
And
tannic
it's got
bit.
some, acidic. It's got lots of acidity. It's
Yeah,
got some
got all
red
that.
meat, it's got some tannins.
But that earthiness from the elderberry is now integrated.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
The dryness of the blueberry is integrated. The blackberry fruit
Definitely
note
get
is
a lot
integrated.
more blueberry. I get that.
See, I get more
rich-
blackberry than blueberry
Yeah,
to me.
I got more blackberry in the 19. This I get blueberry, and then it has that nice juicy thing I was talking about with
Yeah,
blackberry
yeah.
as well, which you kind of don't really get from just the blueberry. Yeah, that's really, yeah, kudos. I can't wait to see where this goes.
Matt wants to know if anybody wants to go to Unionville, New Jersey, because that's where Carlos is.
Carlos in Unionville, that's right.
We've been there, Matt. I stopped there on my way through last year, and we spent some time with Carlo at Unionville. And it was a great experience. It's a cool winery. They've been around a long time.
He's a great guy all the way around, everything he does.
He doesn't have enough energy for me.
Carlo?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's kind of
yeah.
sleepy.
You need a 777. Like 4 billion horsepower at the throttle. Then you're satisfied, or almost.
Carlo is one of the most
speaking
high
of-
energy people I've ever met.
Speaking of going to Unionville, I don't know if I can pull this together from a time standpoint, but I'm sure going to try. But I would like to put together a group of 10 or 12 people to go to Long Island together. And we'll all get a hotel. I'll organize it. We'll get a van. We'll meet down in Connecticut.
I've never been wine tasting out there.
I know you haven't.
I've
That's why I
ridden
wanna
my
go.
bicycle out there. I've been to Montauk.
So,
I've been out
my
that way, but I've
plan is-
never been.
Find out who wants to go, book an inn somewhere where we can put 10 or 12 people up all together and rent a 12-passenger van, and we'll meet somewhere central on the way down, or wherever. We'll pick people up along the way if we need to, and go down and spend 3 or 4 nights staying together at an inn, and then each day
3 or
go on
4
one-
nights?
Yeah. 2 or 3 nights. I don't know, whatever people want to afford. A long weekend. You don't want to go all the way down there for just one night. So it's a big.
No, that's too much. Yeah.
You want to have an opportunity to explore more than one winery. So I figure we'd connect. I have some connections down there through Carlo and some other folks, so we could find a couple of wineries that'd be interested in giving us the grand tour. Maybe plan a wine dinner at one of these places, and we'll just
You go, Bob.
Chuck and I met a bunch of them in 2014 down on 29th Street with Clark Smith.
Yeah.
Because
And
we
I've
went
been
down to that
there,
taste.
Gerald and I have been there twice. And at one time with Carlo's recommendations, who to talk to. And that's the way to go there. You got to know where to go, because like any wine region, it can be hit or miss if you're just totally on.
How many are down there?
There's 75 wineries.
Out on Long Island?
Yeah, within 25 miles.
Wow.
This massive concentration of wineries. It's every mile or two, it's a winery, all the way down to 20.
Wow.
I think it's Route 20. And there's some great wineries, and so it's not hard to find them, but it's great to have good advice and good direction, because there are clearly some that are better than others, It's a
Wasn't
great
there one
experience.
called like Two Sisters or
Yeah,
Three
no.
Sisters or
Well, there's One Woman Winery. What about Two Sisters? There's one called One Woman.
One Woman Winery?
Very
Maybe that-
nice winery, right? A little tiny place, right
Yeah.
at the beginning. Right
I remember
near
you
off the
talking about
ferry.
it.
So it's like the second winery you come across. And you're shocked because it's in a shed. The winery itself is in a bigger building, but the tasting room is in a little shed, and it's literally one woman winery in it. And for a long time, it was one woman who just made it all happen. But she's succeeded and made her mark on the Long Island wine industry. I actually prefer the Long Island winery experience over
Finger Lakes?
Finger Lakes, because Finger Lakes there's 400 or 500 wineries, and it's all over the map. There's a lot of wineries, you know.
So in your opinion, what does Long Island do in a superlative way? Because the Finger Lakes do Riesling, in my opinion, really well. They make some drop-dead Rieslings. When we went down to New York City and tried a bunch of Long Island wines, there were Merlots, there were Petit Verdot's, there were classic vinifera things, but they never seemed like they were exceptional from that place. They were well-crafted wines, of course, but it wasn't like, oh my God, where did this stuff come
So,
from?
I'm
So
frustrated 'cause
was there-
I'm not hitting the name of the grape. It's a Bordeaux grape, one that's less common. You don't hear about it much.
Really?
You know it. Cab Franc.
Cab Franc. Okay.
Cab Franc on the red side.
Right, that's what I was.
Cab Franc reigns very strong. Excuse me, on your. I can't remember what the white wine was.
That did
when
well.
I was going through there.
They do a lot of Chardonnay.
Do they?
Yeah, and I don't have
Yeah,
a
for
reference
us.
for their
Yeah,
white.
it's coastal, ocean-warm climate, sandy
Right.
soil. So they can do the vinifera grapes and Chardonnay and Merlot.
Right. It's not so much the grabbing of that temperature range. It's really those diurnal fluctuations that
Yeah.
grapes. That's why, all those vineyards on the slopes in France and elsewhere, they're on these steep slopes. All that stuff changes with height, with gravity, cold air just sinking down into the valley. And it's a different sort of format. And I don't know if you get that in those flatline areas.
They're able to grow it, and they have their own terroir.
They're their own
expression of
sterile,
it there.
right.
So
The last thing I'll say about Long Island, because I don't know much about it, but the really the vineyards with the really nice wines that you really like to try are so popular and so expensive you can't even get them. They don't sell them. It's all just right to the billionaires who have houses.
that wasn't my experience. I was able to get connected to the right vineyards
Well, this is why you should go with Bob.
Is this in the city?
Yeah.
Because you get it
Well,
in the
yeah,
city.
Right. No,
Did
I
you
mean,
go out
you
on the
can't.
island?
He went out
no,
to the
well,
vineyards
I'm
himself.
saying that you can't buy their wines to consume them because they're all
They sold at the vineyard.
they're spoken for. They don't get distributed.
Well, remember the winery I told you about?
And-
that-
and there's
the only way
$60
you can buy any of their wine is if you're a club member.
Yeah, you told us about that. They have 1,000 club members. That's it.
Yeah.
Doors are closed
Doors
to
are closed.
only
So
to those 1,000.
It's something that you probably have to go there to really get the experience of what they're actually able to do. Because I haven't been able to. You can buy Finger Lakes wines and try those, but in the city, but you can't really do a good wine tasting.
So this is my argument that you need to go to where the
Yeah.
wine is made.
That's it.
to
Yeah,
really
I agree.
appreciate
It's like that for anything.
Absolutely.
Food,
And-
hiking.
And the other
Sailing.
thing that I think is different between Long Island is Long Island takes themselves maybe sometimes too seriously, more seriously than they should. But Finger Lakes is still very much a tourist region. And a lot of the wineries still that I find still operate on the tourist.
There's
model.
lots of
It's
chotch
just
and
about the
stuff.
tourist, yeah. And it's about and the wines. There's a lot more sweeter wines, so they're going to the more general public. They're not necessarily just targeting the,
Well, it's a
the
business.
wine connoisseur. No, it's a business. I'm not knocking it. It's an important way to do business for that.
Yeah, you didn't know it. We're coming out with all sweet wines in the future.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's a new business.
Hermit
model.
Yeah, we're just going to sell them,
And have slushy.
$12 funds. Yeah.
Just every wine
Filled
tasting
out
is
wine.
going to be a slushy.
Slushy? Right.
You're trying to scare everybody away.
No, that's fine. I mean, but we're not going to stop making this stuff.
We'll see.
I mean,
because
this
for us,
is
we
like
don't want to share this.
this
stuff,
is
do we?
like real wine.
No, I mean,
Isn't
this
it
is
like
for
real
us.
wine?
This is why we started doing this, to make this really awesome stuff.
I mean,
And
I
then-
I
so
s- I seek out and purchase wines that have aged somewhere else, from out of some grape, some blend, somebody else put together, because it does this. You smell it and you go, wow, that's really something to
the
dig
12
your
the-
nose in on.
the
That's what
12
I
is
got
still
the
blowing
12.
my mind.
So this brings us to the end of another.
It does?
hour. Yes. If you are interested in this possibility of going to Long Island, please let me know. I'm thinking about it for the spring. If I had 10 or 12 names, it would make it a lot more easy for me to get my head around it and put something together. So let me know if you want to be on that trip. We're probably thinking
April?
April.
June.
Maya and I are going.
So it'll be a time when it'll be kind of quiet down there. So
Right.
we'll be able to get people's attention. And
Right. Everything will be less expensive. We'll get better opportunity to
Yeah.
meet the winemakers and get in on the spots.
And having been there twice, I do have some sense about where to go and what to do. I will get great connections from Carlo for sure in terms of who we'll
Clark
see.
Smith will give
Clark
us some
Smith will have
connections.
some ideas.
Yeah.
So we'll hit some great wineries. We'll have a wine dinner. We'll have a great time. I'm looking forward to it. I want to go back anyway. I will. If you guys
When do you
all
come
go,
back from Italy? You're doing February, March,
March 9th.
before EWE. Okay.
So anyway, there it is. I hope to see all of you, if not most of you, on December 8th. And
We're going to
stay
be drinking
tuned.
this, by the way, 2012
Yes.
Hermitage.
And somebody suggested maybe the weekend after Thanksgiving. There's no opposition to that. I don't know that that would be a problem for me to go down on a Saturday or Sunday.
For the hike?
After Thanksgiving for the hike. So
Sounds
I'll
good.
look at the calendar and see if that makes sense. But I really want to do it. And don't worry, if you can't make the hike this time, I promise you I'll do it again because I really enjoyed it. And I think I will enjoy it even more if you join me. So
We could do it in the snow too. I mean, do it in the winter and snowshoe out there. It's a
Snowshoe.
short.
Absolutely.
It's a short shot. It would be
We're talking about
great on a
snowshoe
snowshoe.
together, so this would be a great
We
opportunity.
could telemark out there.
I don't think you'd want to do that. There's
No,
a lot
I
of
think
low
snowshoeing
mountains
would
and,
be fine. Yeah, there's no hills over there. It's not worth it.
Cross country ski.
I don't know. But
I watched all 7 Flaws last night. I'm getting back in the groove, man.
Oh,
I am
anyone
ready. I am ready.
For joining us for yet another evening.
Here's to 2012,
Here's to 2012. I'll have some more of that.
the
Thank
best
you.
Just
vintage.
smell that and smell this.
Oh,
It's
freaking
really,
We will see
It
you
is
all.
isn't it?
It's like an elderberry plant. I mean,
The flower?